Welcome, Gemini and Gemini crosswatchers, to your monthly love reading for January 2023. So welcome to my channel, everyone, and thanks for stopping by. I hope everyone had a healthy and safe New Year's and New Year's Eve. So you might notice that I am shuffling the cards on camera. I've actually really enjoyed that in the weeklies, so I'm just going to be doing that now. Anyway, as always, please take this as it resonates and always use your intuition when making decisions about your life, because this is a general reading, and cross watchers, you're welcome to flip their roles if that resonates better with you. Okay. And Gemini's actions or intentions. Okay. So we do have Judgment at the bottom of the deck. I do want to let you know that private readings are open now, so I'll leave my email in the description box. So anyway, so we have the Six of Cups as the situation between you. It kind of feels here like, bear with me, I feel like you seem to be seeing the truth of something. It just kind of looks like, it honestly looks like there has been a break in the connection and you're both trying to, kind of recover or rebuild from that, but you're both going to be presenting as like, it's no problem, I'm totally fine. But you're not fine. So we'll start with your person here. We have the Death card, which of course is that Scorpio card. And death is that's about transformation and old cycles ending and starting new cycles. And I feel like your person, it almost, I'm hearing like destitute. There's something about this situation that they feel really exposed. It's almost like all of their, I don't know how to say this, all of their trauma or all of their past hurts, it seems that they feel that they're on display. I'm not so sure that they actually are, because they're presenting as this, Nine of Cups here, like they are happy and fulfilled within themselves, but in actuality, they are, if it isn't externally visible what they're going through, it feels like they're going through what is probably a very painful process of, their own actions are now holding up a mirror to what's really going on with them. And I feel like your person feels very damaged, not to the point that they're beyond repair, but I feel like they definitely feel like they are, I don't know why this is coming through, but almost like ripe for the taking. I feel like they're in such a vulnerable state right now, at least in their headspace. Their heart seems to be a different story, but I feel like in their headspace, they're looking at this like, if someone was to come along and try to take advantage of me, I'd be screwed. In the fact that they are feeling really vulnerable, very exposed, like they somehow are, I don't know how to say this. Hold on for a second. It's not so much that they're looking at you wanting you to fix it, but there does seem to be an energy here of them. It's almost like they want you to see it. They want you to know where they're at. It's almost like they kind of want you to be the person to push them away. It feels to them that like that would be easier. It's almost like that would, if you haven't already, I feel like for them, that would confirm to them that they're not crazy. Let me flesh that out a little bit. So, for example, when someone has a certain belief about themselves, if their life doesn't reflect that belief, so if this person feels that they're too damaged and unlovable, but they're being currently loved, they will like either consciously or subconsciously do things to try to push you away to make what they believe about themselves mirror reality, to make that real. You know what I mean? And I feel like they might be kind of wanting you to see all of that, wanting you to be the person to do it, but at the same time wanting to hide it from you because they don't want to lose you. Let's just call it what it is. They definitely don't want that to happen. And I feel like it's their head that's holding them back. Their heart actually seems to be in a much better place. It's like their heart is kind of their own champion, you know? But when it comes to this person, it almost seems like they're, for example, if you want to look at their headspace as a caged animal, it's one that's given up. It's one that's just lying down and waiting for, just has given up and has accepted that that's their life now. No longer hoping that it's going to get any better. Their heart, however, the Mother of Wands in this deck would be the Queen of Wands in another deck, which is a very powerful card. It's a very strong energy. It's almost like if this person would just let their mind rest for a second and let their heart take over, I actually feel like you would see a very different person come out of them. They may be somebody that is, there may be children involved in this situation. There may not. If there aren't, there's definitely something that this person is very, very protective of. For some of you, it could just be that they are feeling really protective of their own heart. But it's strange because in their heart space, maybe they are protective of their heart, but it doesn't feel like they're completely shutting down, that they are, it's like, if you see a side of this person that's really dynamic, that's almost like take control and is adventurous and almost kind of like brave, it's like they're the first person to step out and be like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I feel like that's when they let their heart take over. I feel like they are someone that's very charismatic, very physically, they might have that kind of raw physical energy, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm saying that right. They may be somebody that, even if they don't have like the perfect body or whatever, there seems to be something that's very magnetic about them. You know what I mean? It's like their sacral chakra is on fire when they are connected to their heart space. I actually feel like it's on fire regardless, but when they're too much up in their head, I feel like they kind of, it's almost like their mind disconnects from the physical sensations and how they're feeling in their body, if that makes sense. I feel like their mind just kind of takes them somewhere else. It's like maybe this might be really specific, but just to kind of illustrate the energy, maybe this person experienced very challenging situations where they almost had to disassociate from it and just kind of go to a different place to survive it. And of course that may not be for everybody, but it's that kind of an energy, right? And it's almost like they kind of got into a bit of a defeatist mindset in that space. And I feel like they seem to know, it's almost like this experience here has shown them. It's that like, if you can't change what you don't acknowledge, right? And so this person, either they finally see it or they already saw it and now they're brave enough to be like, yep, that's what's there. And again, I really do feel that their heart is going to kind of be the strength for this person. I feel like when this person is in there is like, when they're following their heart sort of thing, they seem to be somebody that like they take care of the people around them. They seem to almost have that like Empressy, Queen of Pentacles energy. Again, please don't get too hung up on whether it's a king or queen, mother, father, whatever. It's more about the energetics of it, right? So this may or may not be, or this person may or may not identify as female, male, what, or other. I say other, I apologize if that's diminutive, because we don't have a two gender system, right? Anyway, I'm getting off track because I want to make sure that everyone knows that this channel is inclusive. So I'll put that out there. So anyway, and I actually feel that you may start to see, it's almost like this person's heart is going to start pushing them in that direction, regardless of what their mind thinks. I feel like, if you've seen The Grinch where, his heart grew 3 sizes that day, I feel like your person's heart is kind of done with this defeatist attitude, because I feel like that's where their strength and their courage comes from. And that part of them is just, it's like if the mind wants to play tricks on them, the heart's just going to go and do it anyway. And I feel like you might see, it's almost like this person could actually have a much better life than they think they do. It's like they might actually be a much more accomplished person than they think they are. It's like this is how they see themselves, but this is how the world sees them. So it's almost like maybe a lot of people don't really even know that your person is stuck in this headspace. It's almost an energy of like having given up, or at least they've given up in the past, and like they do seem to be kind of coming out of that now, because it is the Death card, right? That's transformation. Anyway, we do have the 9 of Cups here as their actions or intentions. So, I mean, it feels pretty clear that this person, I mean, it seems like they want to communicate something to you. And I feel like it does, whatever it is they're trying to say to you, I feel like you are, I don't want to speak too soon, but it just kind of feels like actions or intentions towards each other is for this person to come in and be, it's almost like this part of them is going to come in and be honest with you and talk to you about what's really going on. And I feel like when that ball gets rolling, I actually feel like they're going to be a little bit more honest than they, I almost wanted to say than they intend to be. And then I kind of stopped because actually it feels like this person has actually been longing for an opportunity to be truly open and honest and vulnerable and just kind of put it all out there and stop hiding it. And I feel like if you are open to it, if you allow it, it certainly feels like they would like you to be that person. They seem to feel that you are somebody that it's like you could see all of their brokenness and that you wouldn't judge them for it. At least that's how they're seeing it. So in your headspace, we have the Daughter of Swords, or this would be the Page of Swords in the regular deck. So for me as a reader, the Page of Swords usually means like the cold, hard truth. Today it's looking a little bit softer. It's more like you might be getting the cold, hard truth. And I feel like it's more because you're focused on, or hang on. I feel like when this conversation happens and this person starts to tell you what they've really experienced or what's really going on with them, I feel like you may just be kind of involved in the conversation. And obviously if someone's sharing something that makes them very vulnerable, you're more focused on them and making sure they're okay. And I feel like there's some things that this person reveals in that conversation that it's almost like when the conversation is over, it's almost like you might be feeling drained. You might be feeling almost kind of like you just want to sit back in your chair and just sit there, not really talking to anyone, not looking at anyone. I feel like it was really draining, doesn't seem to be the right word. It's almost like it's brought you to a place of being really still, almost like out of shock. Um, because I feel like you're going to realize that there's definitely some things about this person that you didn't know. But I also feel that, like, based on what they describe to you about what they've been through or what they're thinking, I feel like you see this person really, really differently. If in the past you saw this person as somebody that was like, um, if you were in the past, and I'm not saying you are, okay, if you were judgmental towards this person, or if like if they would do things that you didn't understand that you could see were sabotaging themselves, and it's almost like you're looking at them like, why are you doing that? I know you're capable of more. It's almost like, why are you doing this to yourself, sort of thing. And I feel like you're going to see pretty friggin' clearly, um, because it's like, it's of course what this person says, but I feel like there are some things that they don't say that it's like you would be able to finish the thought for them, if that makes sense. Not that you do or you interject or anything, but it feels like it's like this person may explain what happened to them, and I feel like you seem to be able to almost immediately make that connection of, they say what happened to them, and it's like you're able to relate that back to a certain behavior. And I feel like a lot of their behaviors that have sabotaged their own success, it's like it all makes sense now. You know what I mean? And I feel like you might be the first or one of the first people that this person has really talked to about it. So I just feel like all of these, you know, orbs, I guess you could say, they just seem to be a lot of truths that are coming your way. And I feel like this conversation with this mother, this would be the Queen of Cups, but it's reversed. So I actually feel like there's something so potent about the information that you get from them in this conversation that it almost kind of makes your heart space need to shut down. It seems to be so, it's either like it's so much information, or it's kind of a game changer in terms of your perspective of them, that I almost feel like you kind of turn your heart space off for a minute so you can process it all. You know what I mean? It's that moment of like something happens, and it it's like you need a second to process what really happened, to kind of sort it out and pick through it and decide how you're going to feel about it. It's that kind of an energy. I mean, of course, there's times where things happen and we have an immediate emotional reaction because of what happened or the stimulus. But I feel like because it's more an information download, I feel like not only do you see that this person, you know, what they're communicating to you, but there's something about the way that they communicate that I feel like you see that whatever they've been through has, people have tried to minimize it for them. People have tried to, you know, instead of being, and, you know, I'm it's not to pass judgment on the people that this person has encountered, but I feel like, for example, if this person spoke to whoever actually put them through a difficult time, it's almost like that person couldn't handle the guilt of what was done and just tried to downplay it and like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And I feel like your person seemed to get to a headspace where they felt that like, well, if it really isn't a big deal, why is it such a big deal to me? And then they started to see that as like, well, maybe I'm flawed. Maybe it's my problem. Maybe I'm at fault. Maybe I shouldn't be taking things so seriously. And I feel like in that they started to, I feel like you're going to see that. And so it feels like that's where this kind of divide between their head and their heart comes, right? It's like, this is what they've been immersed in, submerged in. It's that kind of people trying to put a cap on it so that it's almost like people thought that if they just said like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. Oh, it's this, it's that the person would just let it go. It's like they just didn't want to deal with it. But the part of them that knows darn well that whatever happened shouldn't have happened and they have every right to be upset about it, that seems to be the part of them that doesn't suffer as much because of it. It also feels that if, of course, depending on the connection between the two of you, and if it is romantic, you know, how long you've been together or what have you, it seems to give you a lot of food for thought. I feel like you seem to understand this person's behaviors and their patterns a lot better. I mean, of course, the cards already said that, but it feels like there's this other element. I feel like you're looking at it wondering if this is even a situation that you're going to be able to be in. I feel like you kind of see this person as having some stuff to sort through that is kind of out of your depth. I feel like to you, you may see it as, it's like this person might need some time and space to sort out their stuff. And I feel like as soon as you kind of have that thought of, you know what, maybe I should give this person some space, it feels like there's this immediate, almost visceral reaction of like wanting to be there for them and wanting to help and support them. It's like you still, even if you are, hold on. I feel like even if you see that, it's almost like you see it as being unfair to this person to try to push more of a romantic connection on them. Because I feel like you see it as, it's like if stuff has been pushed on this person and people have always been trying to push their agenda on them, it almost feels like you look at it like it would be unfair of you to do that. And that may be just an emotional reaction to getting this information from them. It does kind of feel like even if you don't say anything to them, that you're going to be watching them really closely to see if this is, it almost kind of makes you want to not block them out entirely, but put your walls up a little bit to protect yourself, because I feel like you're looking at it like because there's so much going on underneath the surface from your perspective, because I feel like they may, because their actions or intentions, what you actually see is the Nine of Cups. So it's like they may say things that would indicate that they're over it, but the way they talk about it and to the extent that they talk about it, you know that it's a bigger deal than they either see it as or that they want it to be. And so I feel like you're just kind of looking at this, almost feeling this. Of course, if it's your intuition, then listen to it, right? This is a general reading. But I feel like there is this feeling that you get that you don't really want to walk away from this person, but it just kind of feels like if you stick around in a romantic sense, that you may get caught in the crosshairs, or that it's almost like that this person might do the healing that they do, or they kind of do whatever they need to do for themselves, and then you end up getting left behind at the end of the day. It does kind of feel like you seem to have some concerns, and it's not so much a like, it doesn't really feel like it's a self-esteem thing on your end. That doesn't necessarily mean that you do or do not have a problem with self-esteem. It just feels like that's not how it applies here. It feels more that it's you're just kind of seeing it as, if you have seen someone do that real healing process, it's like a lot of the people that are, for example, if you were to do a healing process, when you get to the end of that spiritual awakening or something, because you change so much internally, there are people that were in your life that just don't really resonate with you anymore. It just kind of, and you just seem to drift apart. And it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the cost right? That's the price of admission to healing sometimes. And I feel like you seem to be wanting to kind of keep your distance to a certain extent, because it's like if this person kind of does whatever they're doing and either they go further into this energy or they come into this energy, I feel like you're looking at it like you're just not really sure which way it's going to go. So I feel like to a certain extent, you want to hold yourself back, just to make sure that you're not going to end up being some sort of collateral damage here. So we do have the Four of Pentacles as your actions or intentions. I do feel that you're going to be very open to this person. It feels like it's one of those conversations where it's like you need silence after. Not so much that you, and it's almost that energy of like you might go home or whatever, and you're sitting on your couch, and normally, you'd be watching TV or on your phone or talking to somebody or whatever, and it's like the TV's off, the phone is down, and you're just kind of sitting there in silence, almost just needing to allow yourself time to think about it. Obviously air signs are, but especially Geminis, you guys think about everything. And it's not like, oh, you're an overthinker, na 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 na. You may not be. That's not really what cards are driving at here. It's more, it's almost shocking. It's kind of mind-boggling. I feel like there's some of the things that they may tell you that are, I mean, of course, depending on what's happened to them, it may be a bit disturbing. It might be hard for you to hear. I think I'm going to cry. Damn it. It might be hard for you to hear some of the things that this person has been through. And I feel like, well, you may have looked at this person as a bit of a self-sabotager before. And I mean, they're still doing the same behavior. It still is sabotaging them. You actually seem to look at them now as more surprised that they're doing what they're doing, rather than why isn't this person, like, why do they keep sabotaging themselves in this way? It's like you're looking at it like you're surprised that they've gotten this far. I almost want to say you're surprised they've gotten this far, especially given that there still is some denial about the impact of it. So I think we're going to pull an advice card. I'm just looking at which deck. Hold on for a second. Okay. Can we get some advice for Gemini? Advice. Judgment. So we have the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And I do want to say we have Judgment over here as well. And then Seven of Swords. Two of Swords. Interesting. So the Judgment talks about kind of maturation and going to that next level of transformation, which is clearly what this person is. It's going to happen to them one way or another. And I feel like there's an opportunity for you to learn something here. And I feel like it's in the past, if you were in situations where, there were challenges, maybe not quite this, but I feel like you seem to be able to have an impact on it. It's like you were either able to make it better or help them understand or this or that. But because this is out of your depth, it's almost like you have an opportunity here to learn how to cope with feeling a bit powerless. And it's not a helpless energy. It's not that you don't have your own personal power in your life, but it feels like a bit of powerlessness in this situation. And it's not because you don't know what to do. It's because you see that this person you know, that they have to do it for themselves, that you're not going to be doing them any favors. I feel like, for one, you do kind of feel that this is a little bit out of your depth. And I feel like in that, it kind of makes you a bit reticent to even, not that you would tell this person how to heal or whatever, but it just feels like it's so much that it's almost a bit shocking. It's like it might make you walk a little bit slower. It's something that is, draining isn't the right word. I can't quite think of what it is. Hold on for a second. It's actually kind of devastating what this person tells you. It feels like your heart kind of aches for them. It feels like it's one of those moments where it kind of opens up your eyes to a different side of life, to a different set of experiences. That doesn't mean your life has been perfect or that it's been easy. It just feels like what this person's been through is very shocking. And I feel like if you, of course, it's up to you if you want to continue to be in this person's life. Nobody can make you leave or stay but you. But I feel like there is a message here that it, continuing to be around this person may be a very challenging experience for you. And that's, that's not to say, or that's not being said to dissuade you from it or to push you in the other direction. It's really more to kind of help you brace yourself, because I feel like it might be the kind of situation where as more information comes out of this person, it's like as they start talking about it, I feel like there's more and more layers and more layers. And there may be times where you kind of have to take some distance from this person because it's too painful to hear. It's too painful to talk about. It's almost like you kind of saying to this person, like, you know what, I want to hear you, but I just can't hear anymore right now. It's too heartbreaking. Sorry. So Gemini, the advice here is, and this is anecdotal, right? I'm not trying to stereotype Geminis, but I'm about to, right? We know that that's what's coming after that sentence. You guys are usually a very fun, kind of jovial, just almost a very light-hearted energy. And I feel like there's a message here that if you stay close to this person and they're confiding in you as they kind of work through this healing process, after they talk to you, there's this message here to recognize that because they're starting to unload a lot of this stuff they've been holding on to, they feel lighter. They're still doing some hard work. You know, we don't need to discount that, right? But they feel lighter because they're getting rid of it. And if you take that on, it's almost like it might even slow you down in terms of, like, you might walk slower, you might move slower, you might take a cup out of the counter and it's like your arm just feels so freaking heavy. And it's the weight of this person, and it's not because they're trying to put it on you. I feel like it's because there's a possibility that you may become so focused on this person, or it's like it's so shocking that it seems to take up a lot of your headspace. And I feel like it's important that you get out of that you take opportunities or find opportunities to continue to have some fun, because I feel like there's a message here that, you know, in the same vein as you're not able to do this person's healing for them, that means you also don't have to take it on, right? It's like if you can't do the healing for them, it doesn't do you or this person any good to internalize the suffering that they've had, right? So it's almost like you kind of feel, now this may not be the actual situation, but it's the energetics of it, right? It's like, because if your empathy game is real strong, which I believe that it is with this person, especially as they start opening up, you may really get into a place where you are not only having these challenging conversations, but thinking about it afterwards, what it must have been like for them, and how challenging and how brave they are at what they're doing now. And it does feel like, yes, you can have all of those feelings, but I feel like there's a message here to find a way to leave it at the door. Because you being slowed down, you feeling the sorrow that this person is feeling, that's I actually feel that if they knew that it was having that impact on you, they would still want to talk to you about it, but I don't think that they would, because they don't want to put that on you. I feel like they would still really want to be around you. They'd want to talk to you about it. It's like they'd almost go to talk to you about it, and then they'd remember that it's a bit much. So if it is, and you need them to do that, you can of course say it to them. But that's obviously up to you. It just feels like for you to not become I don't know how to say this, for you to not drown in the sorrow that this person is letting go. It's important that you still, I want to say, like, live your own life. And not that you aren't, okay? It's more like this is advice as you move through this process, to still do things that are fun, to still go out. And it's almost like part of you feels, or like there might be a little tinge of feeling guilty that you're out having fun while you know that this person is healing, suffering, doing their thing. And there's a message here that, like, that may be true, but I'm going to invite you to ask yourself, is you suffering along with this person? Is you drowning in this sorrow? Your arms feeling so heavy, you're having a hard time getting a cup out of the cupboard. Is that doing this person any good? Is that helping them heal? Because if it's not, all it's doing is taking you down. And I feel like through this experience, not that you aren't already resilient, but it feels like you're going to naturally develop some emotional resiliency. It's like if you don't already, you'll understand how, when someone's going through this, to empathize with the person, but also, if you need to limit contact with them, or if you need to do whatever you need to do to make sure that it doesn't get inside your soul. If you already know how to do that, I feel like it's a skill that you refine. I feel like if you already know how to do that, you seem to be really grateful that you've got that skill when this information comes out. So I think I'll leave it there, Gemini. If this reading resonated, I hope it was helpful and brought you some clarity. Just a bit of quick housekeeping. I feel like kind of a jerk for saying this, but at the end of this reading, but just so that you're aware, I will have the mini weeklies coming out on Sunday, and then next week, the kids and I are all back at school, so I'm not sure I'll be able to get readings out that week. I will definitely put up a post in the community section on the weekend, probably on Sunday, just to let you know if those readings will come out, but I just wanted to let everybody know that there may be a break in them next week. So that's it for today, and I will be sending you some healing energy this month. Much love. Bye.